Clutching at the old woman walked inside with the two young men and their children. Sitting on the bamboo bed in their house, Tripitaka began to protest, saying, "Disciples, the two of you are not only ugly in appearance, but you are also rude in your language. You have scared this family badly, and you are causing me to sin. To tell you the truth, Master," said 8 Rules, "since I started accompanying you, I have become a lot better behaved. At the time when I was living in Old Gao village, all I needed to do was to pout and flap my ears once, and scores of people would be frightened to death." "Stop talking rubbish, idiot," said Pilgrim, "and fix your ugliness. Look at the way Wukong talks," said Tripitaka. "Your appearance comes with your birth. How can you tell him to fix it? Take that rake-like snout," said Pilgrim. "Put it in your bosom, and don't take it out. And stick your rush leaf fen ears to the back of your head, and don't shake them. That's fixing it." 8 Rules did indeed hide his snout and stick his ears to the back of his head. With his hands folded in front of him to hide his head, he stood on one side of his master. Pilgrim took the luggage inside the main door, and tied the white horse to one of the posts in the courtyard. The old man then brought a young man in to present 3 cups of tea, placed on a wooden tray. After the tea, he ordered a vegetarian meal to be prepared. Then the young man took an old, unvarnished table full of holes and several stools with broken legs, and placed them in the courtyard for the 3 of them to sit where it was cool. Only then did Tripitaka ask, "Old patron, what is your noble surname?" "Your humble servant goes by the surname of Wang," said the old man. "And how many heirs do you have?" asked Tripitaka. "I have 2 sons and 3 grandchildren," said the old man. "Congratulations. Congratulations," said Tripitaka. "And what is your age?" "I have foolishly lived till my 61st year," the old man said. "Good. Good. Good," said Pilgrim. "You have just begun a new sexagenary cycle." "Old patron," said Tripitaka again. "You said when we first came that the scriptures in the Western heaven were difficult to get. Why?" "The scriptures are not hard to get," said the old man. "But the journey there is filled with hazards and difficulties. Some 30 miles west of us there is a mountain called the Yellow Wind Ridge of 800 miles. Monsters infest that mountain, and that's what I meant by difficulties. Since this little priest claims that he has many abilities, however, you may perhaps proceed after all." "No fear. No fear," said Pilgrim. "With Old Monkey and his younger brother around, we'll never be touched, no matter what kind of monster we meet." While they spoke, one of the sons brought out some rice and placed it on the table, saying, "Please eat." Tripitaka immediately folded his hands to begin his grace, but 8 Rules had already swallowed a whole bowl of rice. Before the priest could say the few sentences, Idiot had devoured 3 more bowlfuls. "Look at the glutton," said Pilgrim. "It's like we've met a Prita." Old Wang was a sensitive person. When he saw how fast 8 Rules was eating, he said, "This honored priest must be really hungry. Quick, bring more rice." Idiot, in truth, had an enormous appetite. Look at him. Without lifting his head once, he finished over 10 bowls, while Tripitaka and Pilgrim could hardly finish 2. Idiot refused to stop and wanted to eat still more. "In our haste, we have not prepared any dainty viands," said Old Wang. "And I dare not press you too much. Please take at least 1 more helping." Both Tripitaka and Pilgrim said, "We have had enough." "Old man," said 8 Rules, "what are you mumbling about? Who's having a game of divination with you? Why mention all that about the 5th Yao and the 6th Yao? If you have rice, just bring more of it, that's all." So Idiot in one meal finished all the rice in that household, and then he said he was only half full. The tables and dishes were cleared away, and after bedding had been placed on the bamboo bed and on some wooden boards, the travelers rested. The next morning, Pilgrim went to saddle the horse, while 8 Rules put their luggage in order. Old Wang asked his wife to prepare some refreshments and drinks to serve them, after which the 3 of them expressed their thanks and took leave of their host. The old man said, "If there is any mishap on your journey after you leave here, you must feel free to return to our house." "Old man," said Pilgrim, "don't speak such disconcerting words. Those of us who have left the family never retrace our steps." They then urged on the horse, picked up the luggage, and proceeded toward the west. Alas! What this journey means for them is that there's no safe way which leads to the western realm. There'll be great disasters brought by demons vile. Before the 3 of them had traveled for half a day, they did indeed come upon a tall mountain, exceedingly rugged. Tripitaka rode right up to the hanging cliff and looked around, sitting sideways on his saddle. Truly, tall was the mountain, rugged the peak, steep the precipice, deep the canyon, gurgling the stream, and fresh were the flowers. This mountain, whether tall or not, its top reached the blue sky. This stream, whether deep or not, its floor opened to hell below. Before the mountain, white clouds rose in continuous rings, and boulders in shapes grotesque. Countless the soul-rending cliffs 10,000 yards deep. Behind them, winding, twisting, dragon-hiding caves, where water dripped from ledges drop by drop. He also saw some deer with zigzag horns, dull and dumbly staring antelopes, winding and coiling red-scaled pythons, silly and foolish white-faced apes, tigers that climbed the hills to seek their dens at night, dragons that churned the waves to leave their lairs at dawn. If one stepped before a cave's entrance, the dead leaves crackled. The fowls in the grass darted up with wings loudly beating. The beasts in the forest walked with paws noisily scratching. Suddenly wild creatures hurried by, making hearts beat with fear. Thus it was that the Dew-to-Fall cave duly faced the Dew-to-Fall cave. The cave duly facing the Dew-to-Fall cave duly faced the mount. One blue bill died like 1,000 yards of jade, mist veiled like countless mounds of jade-green gauze. The master rode forward very slowly, while the great sage Sun also walked at a slower pace, and Zhu Wuneng proceeded leisurely with the load. As all of them were looking at the mountain, a great whirlwind suddenly arose. Alarmed, Tripitaka said, "Wukong, the wind is rising." "Why fear the wind?" said Pilgrim. "This is the breath of heaven and the 4 seasons, nothing to be afraid of. But this is a terribly violent wind, unlike the kind that comes from heaven," said Tripitaka. "How so?" said Pilgrim. Tripitaka said, "Look at this wind. Augustly it blows in a blusterous key. An immense force leaving the jade-green sky. It passes the ridge, just hear the trees roar. It moves in the wood, just see the poles quake. Willows by the banks are rocked to the roots. Blown garden flowers now soar with their leaves. Fishing boats, nets drawn, make their hawsers taut. Vessels with sails down have their anchors cast. Trekkers in mid-journey have lost their way. Woodsmen in the hills cannot hold their loads. From woods with fruits divine the apes disperse. From clumps of rare flowers the small fawns flee. Before the cliff cypress fall one by one. Downstream bamboo and pine die leaf by leaf. Earth and dust are scattered while sand explodes. Rivers and seas overturned, waves churn and roll. 8 Rules went forward and tugged at Pilgrim, saying, "Elder brother, the wind is too strong. Let's find shelter until it dies down." "You are too soft, brother," said Pilgrim, laughing. "When you want to hide the moment the wind gets strong. What would happen to you if you were to meet a monster spirit face to face?" "Elder brother," said 8 Rules, "you probably haven't heard of the proverb, 'Flee the fair sex like a foe. Flee the wind like an arrow.' We suffer no loss if we take shelter just for a little while. Stop talking, said Pilgrim, and let me seize the wind and smell it. You are fibbing again, elder brother, said 8 Rules with a laugh. For how can the wind be seized for you to smell? Even if you manage to catch hold of it, it will slip past you at once. Brother, said Pilgrim, you didn't know that I have the magic to seize the wind. Dear great sage. He allowed the head of the wind to move past, but he caught hold of its tail and sniffed at it. Finding it somewhat fetid, he said, this is indeed not a very good wind, for it smells like a tiger or else like a monster. There's something definitely strange about it. Hardly had he finished speaking when from over a hump of the mountain a fierce striped tiger, with a whip-like tail and powerful limbs, appeared. Tripitaka was so horrified that he could no longer sit on the saddle. He fell head over heels from the white horse and lay beside the road, half out of his wits. Throwing down the luggage, 8 Rules took up his muckrake and rushed past Pilgrim. Cursed beast! He shouted. Where are you going? He lunged forward and struck at the beast's head. That tiger stood straight up on his hind legs and, raising his left paw, punctured his own breast with one jab. Then, gripping the skin, he tore downward with a loud rending noise, and he became completely stripped of his own hide as he stood there by the side of the road. Look how abominable he appears. Oh, that hideous form! All smeared with blood, the naked body. Most sickly red, the warped legs and feet. Like shooting flames, wild hair by the temples. Bristlingly hard, 2 eyebrows pointing upward. Hellishly white, 4 steel-like fangs. With light aglow, a pair of gold eyes. Imposing of mien, he mightily roared. With power fierce, he cried aloud. Slow down. Slow down. He shouted. I am not any other person. I am the vanguard of the forces commanded by the great King Yellow Wind.